In this video, we're going to look into zone sets. Now, to get to zone sets, if I go up into the search for anything and I type in zone, I get to my zone sets. You can see here I have a few different types of zone sets. I've got my general freight zone set, I've got my transport zone set, and I've also got courier zones, and I've also got a zone set cascade in here as well. But I'm just going to come into the general freight and we're going to have a look at the zone setup and how it works. So what we have over here on the left hand side is all of our zones, and we could come in and we could add in a zone, and the zone links to the rate card and to income, obviously. Over here on the right hand side we have all of our postcodes and suburbs throughout Australia, or for whichever ones we need to load into the system for your particular tenancy. So what we can do here, over here on the right hand side, you can see that we've got lots of filters. So we could come in and we could do things where we filter on postcodes or on suburbs or on zones. What I'm going to do over here, you can see next to Adelaide I have a little drop down. So what we've got is we've got zone hierarchy. You can see underneath Adelaide Metro, I've got Adelaide Hills, Adelaide North and Adelaide South. Now where this comes into play is if I wanted to give somebody a particular price for Adelaide North, I could then go into my rate card and add it in for Adelaide North. If I was charging the Hills, North and South all as the same rate, then I would just go in and I would put into the rate card for Adelaide Metro, and it would charge for all of those areas, even though I've got suburbs linked to those different ones. Now, so what we're going to do is I'm going to add in an additional zone in here. So I'm going to click add over here, and what it's going to do is it's going to give me I'm going to put in Gawler. Now Gawler is part of, it's Outer Adelaide, but I'm going to say for this particular customer I'm going to give them the Adelaide rates, or I'm going to give them specific rates for Gawler, but for everybody else it's part of the Adelaide rates. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to save. And then what we can see is now underneath here on the left hand side we've got Gawler in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now link some suburbs to that particular rate. So I'm going to say that I'm looking for a suburb and I want it to contain the word Gawler. And I really like this because what this then does is it actually shows me all of the suburbs in the list with Gawler in the name. So I know that I want to add that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And so I'm going to assign these and I'm going to say, yes, I want these to come in as Gawler. And I assign. So now those suburbs are linked through to Gawler. So it just makes it a lot easier when you've got suburbs loaded in here, and you could do the same thing for, say, Salisbury. And you would get Salisbury North, you'd get Salisbury Park, you'd get Salisbury South, whatever it may be. So what I'm going to do now is to get rid of that filter, I just hit on the X. And the other thing we could do is we could come in and we could export. So over here with the zones, we could come in and I could hit export and it would export as an Excel spreadsheet, and then we could go in and we could add in some more suburbs. So if you were creating a tenancy and we didn't have any zones and we didn't want to add them in one by one, we can do an export, put it in, and then obviously bring it back in. It's the same with our suburbs or all of our locations over here. We can go through and we can do an export, and where we find the exports is they will come up here into the bell. So if I was to just go through, and I'll do it just for the zones, and I was to say export, it will go through and it will pop up here in the bell and tell me when it's ready. So the other thing, also another thing inside the zone sets, is we can actually do address to zones. So what I've done here is I have CartonCloud's address, and I've actually linked that to my Gold Coast depot. So that's really good if I want to give specific rates going out of my depot through to, say, Metcash or the likes of that. Then I could actually set up a specific rate. And I've linked my depot address, so every time a consignment either comes into the depot or out of the depot, it will always link through to the Gold Coast depot. So another part of the zone sets is we can always come in here and we can do a zone set cascade. Now, a zone set cascade, in a word, is just a customer specific zone mapping by exception. So what we could actually do for this one, for my customer coffee roasters, I've just set up one address zone mapping for Metcache here, and we can link this zone set to a rate card. So if you need to know anything more about zone sets, please get in contact with us. No doubt we'll be going through a lot in the onboarding. We've gone through a lot of this in the onboarding process when we're bringing on new tenants. But as you go through, if you need any help, as always, please email support@cartoncloud.com.au. Cheers.